Thank you so much, Seth and Kevin. That was a great conversation. And welcome to Christina's Power Toy Talk. I'm kidding, kind of, but I do actually have members of the Power Toys team here to talk to me about all the new Power Toys stuff that was announced at Microsoft Build, how it came to be, and how you can use it to be more productive. So I'm super, super joined. I'm super, super thrilled. Also super, super tired. I'm super, super thrilled to bring in Aleka, Clint, and Mike. How are you all?
Doing fantastic.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so Clint, let me start with you. Can you give me just a quick overview of what PowerToys is? Now, I know I'm a huge fan, but for anybody in the audience who maybe it was like Kevin Gallo in the previous section who admitted that he didn't really use it that much, can you tell me what PowerToys is and why people should be playing with them and excited about them?
So PowerToys is all about just trying to figure out cool little ways we can help improve productivity for our power users on Windows. Mike will be able to give a much better origin story here, but it's all about just trying to do common tasks that would take 10 clicks. Can we do it in 1 click? A great example is we just had a great group of interns and we challenged them. Can we do a color eyedropper? So this is one of those things where, as a developer, you take a screenshot, you'd have to then copy that, open up Paint or Word or like Photoshop, get the color, then you have to translate the RGB to hex, paste it back in. This is something that we could do in two shortcuts really quick. So once the team kind of walked through the problem, they were like, oh my God, this really is a problem. And now we have a couple of great proof of concepts that we did. And that was just the last week. So we have I think 8 or 9 great utilities currently in box in PowerToys, and we're working little by little to build them out.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And you mentioned the origin story. So Mike, let's go to you. Tell us the origin story of PowerToys, because people like me who are, shall we say, old, might think that the name sounds familiar. Can you tell us a little bit about the origin story and why this is such a kind of a great throwback?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Christina. So I would say it was probably late 2018, holiday 2018 or so, and some folks on the team had ideas for just some things that Windows should do. A lot of them were like Windows shell features. The shortcut key guide functionality that's in PowerToys now was one of the main ideas that Rich Turner on the team had. He's like, there should be a way that when you like hold down the Windows key, it should let you know what you can do next if you hold it down for long enough. And I was like, that's such a good idea. And then we started riffing on that idea, and someone was like, we should make this an open source utility. And like, oh, that's such a good idea. So like 2 weeks later, I was talking to Casey Lemson of kind of Microsoft lore fame, and we were just kind of shooting the breeze about what's going on, what her new role was. And she basically I was talking to her about this, and she said, oh my gosh, you should reboot the PowerToys brand. And that just instantly brought back all the memories of using PowerToys back when I was in college. I'm not to date myself too much. And it was just seemed like such a great idea. So I scrapped together some devs to help build kind of some prototype utilities, and Clint helped me set up a couple of sessions at Build last year to get kind of feedback. And so we basically just built an empty GitHub repo so people could post issues and ideas, kind of a call to action for the sessions from Build. And we just had we just talked about the idea of PowerToys and said, what do people in this audience want us to do in Windows to make it better for you? And we just were flooded with ideas. It was kind of banana. And when we first started the session, there was a handful of people. By the time we were done, it was standing room only. Like it was like a donut of people around us, anxious to talk about ideas. So we knew we had something that was interesting. And as part of the call to action of having that GitHub repo, we said, just go put your other ideas there. Some folks from various tech press sites caught wind of the idea and saw the logo and saw the premise. And within about a month, we had 5,000 stars on GitHub with an empty repo with just basically people having issues for suggestions that we should do. So we kind of knew right then and there we had a really good idea. So we scrambled to get proper development work and get it ready to go so we could launch the first couple of utilities, which was Fancy Zones and the shortcut key guide in August last year. And that was when kind of Clint joined us, the team officially, to kind of become the leader for the execution, and we really started ramping up dev resources from kind of all over the company. We've had folks, some awesome devs helping us from Vancouver. We've had a bunch of devs from other parts of the company kind of helping on pro bono work. They've had some utilities and things they've built in the past that they wanted to kind of productize and get into PowerToys. So it's been a really, really fun collaborative effort, and we're constantly surprised at where people from the company will come out of the woodworks and want to help us. So it's really cool.
I love it. I love it. I love the origin story. I was at Build last year. I think I was at that talk, and I love that just 5,000 people were starring an empty GitHub repo. That's great.
Yeah.
Also, Mike,
Yeah.
love your Sub Pop hoodie. Just wanted to point that out. And Alekia, you are in charge of PowerToys Run, right? Which just launched, and I have to admit is one of my personal favorite Power Toys. Tell us a little bit about what that is and how it works technically.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Christina. Yeah, so PowerToys Run is one of the recently released PowerToys. So with PowerToys Run, Power users can now launch apps fast. You can toggle between the applications that are open on your system. That is the window walker plugin that we incorporated. We can also search for files and folders, and we have an inbuilt calculator. So technically, PowerToys Run is based on Vox, which is an open source project, and it was developed with an aspiration to modernize WinR. So the entire team put in a lot of effort to making PowerToys Run what it is today. But we know that there are still many areas that we can improve on. So we have disabled the option to override WinR right now. But with the help of everyone who's watching this right now and the strong PowerToys community that we have, we believe that we can add all those features back in and take PowerToys Run to the next level. So for that, we request all of you to install PowerToys Run, play around with it, and give us your suggestions and feedback on GitHub.
Fantastic, fantastic. And for anybody who just wants some clarity, if you haven't played with PowerToys Run, basically you press like a control space and you can just type in what you want to run and it runs. You can also enter in calculator commands, as Alekia mentioned, and there are going to be other things that are added. It's a really great launcher. And as Alekia mentioned, it was based on the Vox open source project, which I actually think I showed to you, Clint, at Build last year. Can you talk to us a little bit about how the team has worked with some of these other open source projects and what the process is going to be going forward as the PowerToys evolve and continue to grow and improve?
Yeah. So the first thing we do is we always try to reach out to the repository owners and make sure that they're okay with what we're going to do and be sure that it's always a good collaborative relationship. The other thing is, for some of these are like individual people's side projects. So imagine how uncomfortable it would be if we came in and said, hey, we're going to have 5 devs submit pull requests against your repository and it kind of could impact their ability to both be functional and just get overwhelmed. So what we try to do is be fair, have the discussion. Do we do a hard fork? Do we do a soft fork? How can we contribute back? So one thing we just recently did with the group of interns is they were testing out ideas for an animated GIF screen recorder. And we talked to the screen to GIF team, and we directly said, hey, Nikki, you have this issue. We think we might have some tech that could help. Would you be interested? And so we're going to go create a pull request back to them to get it from start to finish to help just from our little proof of concept hackathon to push their project forward. And we even looked at, is this a potential good starting point for the screen to GIF base for the animated GIF capture base for PowerToys as well. So like I said, we're trying to be good community citizens and just try to push the envelope forward. We love what the community does. So a large sum of our new UI work and even the PowerToys Run UI is community driven. Our icon update refresh is community driven as well. So I can't stress it enough. PowerToys would not be where it is today without the community.
I love that. I love that. And I think that that makes a lot of sense, right? Because this is, I think this seems to me not more than anything else, but I think especially compared to even all the other amazing projects we have, like this is really kind of a love letter to the community and to power users, hence the name, right? So I love that the fact that the community has been a huge part of it and that the team is continuing to give back to, other open source projects, but without, maybe overwhelming them with potential support requests or engineering changes that might not make sense for them. So, so PowerToys Run and the key remapper were announced this week. What are there any PowerToys that you can kind of maybe give us some sneak peeks about? Any ideas you have for the future, or are there any current PowerToys that you have that are really exciting to you? Mike, do you want to tell me what's your favorite PowerToy right now?
So right now it's kind of hard to pick. How do you? This is Sophie's choice here. How do you pick your favorite?
Yeah, I know. I am asking you to be Meryl Streep. I'm sorry that you have to choose between your children, but that's the game.
There's so many worse things you could ask me to be right now. So I do think that Run has the potential to be absolutely amazing. Right now it is really, really powerful, but there's just so many ideas that the team has and the community has to really make it, to kind of take it to 11, which I guess is the whole point of PowerToys, is taking your system to 11. As far as things that are in the hopper, one of the things that I'm really excited about is Clint mentioned all of the intern projects that happened over the last 2 weeks it's kind of amazing how much progress these groups of interns made in just 2 short weeks. Clint and I were just talking about yesterday if maybe we should set up a community call to demo some of those things to the community and get some feedback on those ideas and see how we could prioritize them for future things. So hopefully we can set something like that up.
That sounds great. I think you should definitely do that. I think that, look, we're all at home. We're all trying to take our productivity up another level. I think that we all appreciate how we can be more efficient now that we're in kind of these weirder situations. A community call would be great, using Microsoft Teams, of course. Alekia, how can people, if they want to learn more, if they want to contribute back their feedback, how can they do that? How can they get in touch with your team and what you're building?
Yeah, thanks, Christina. So if anyone wants to contribute to PowerToys, or if they have suggestions, they can go to our GitHub page, Microsoft/PowerToys, and you can add your suggestions and bring out any bugs that you see, and we will take all those into consideration. And also you can look at all our documentation over there, and you can read it and also create requests there. So yeah.
Fantastic. So that's github.com/Microsoft/PowerToys. And so check that out. You can also download the PowerToys directly from that repository. Clint, I'm going to throw this at you, and I apologize because I didn't prep you for this in advance, but this just occurred to me. With the new Windows Package Manager, Winget, will you be able to maybe install PowerToys from Winget? Is that something that's going to be potentially in the works?
We were a launch partner. If you do Winget /install PowerToys, it already works.
I love it. I love it.
Dave, literally at launch, it was ready.
I love it. That's fantastic. So if you're not familiar with, it's not a PowerToy, but it plays perfectly with PowerToys, the new Windows Package Manager, as Clint said, in Winget /install PowerToys. That is fantastic. So I'm looking to see, I know that I was talking to, actually, this is a great question that just came in from the chat. And this might be out of everybody's purview, but this is some good food for thought, I think. This from Matthew P. says, how does this fit in with sysinternals, and will that be revived? Because I still use several of those tools today. So I don't know who wants to maybe take that, but any chance of maybe a sysinternals revival, or maybe bringing some of that stuff to PowerToys?
So I think the sysinternal work is still supported. It's still there. The tools are super powerful. I think PowerToys needs to be hyper aware of the additional work that we take on, because anything that gets open source and put into PowerToys, we then have to support. However, it's something that we wouldn't put off the table. And I think that like BG Info and Zoomit would be fantastic, just like little additions to be built into PowerToys. But we have to be super aware of how those things get open source. We need to be sure that everything else works accordingly and works with the system settings. Another thing that we're proactively kind of thinking about and talking to the teams is Mouse Without Borders.
Mouse Without Borders. Okay, very, very cool. Well, that sounds good. That makes sense. You got to be careful about how we want to make sure we do these things the right way. Matthew, I hope that answered your question. Clint, Mike, and Alekia, thank you all so much for making PowerToys, frankly, because, and the community as well, because it makes my life so much better. And you can get PowerToys by going to github.com/Microsoft/PowerToys or Wingit space install space PowerToys. Thank you all for joining me. And we are now going to go back to Seth.